Hello, and welcome to Dark Souls 3. It's an old game. Many people have played it before. However, today I'm going to be going back and playing it again. I've probably completed this game about 3 times. I've had more files than that. Some of them got a little bit screwed, some of them didn't. Mostly, I've played this game for fun, but on this file specifically, I'm trying to go for all the achievements, and at the moment I'm on New Game Plus 2, trying to get all of the rings. Quite difficult, because you can only actually get all of the rings from New Game Plus 2 onwards, because for some reason they decided to make the Plus 2 and Plus 1 variants of all of the rings mandatory for the achievement. I'm not really sure why. You sort of get them all on the first playthrough, and then you have to get them again and again and again, and it just feels a little bit it feels like they were sort of extending the life of the achievements by doing that, but we'll sort of ignore that fact. I'm already part way through the game. Basically, I'm just doing a sort of quick run through of the game, and then sort of going back, and the rings that I miss I will quickly nip and get those separately. But I need to unlock all of the areas first, so I'm just sort of trying to jiggle my way through it as my fatty bones here. My character, Lady Breadloaf V, basically started out as a sword dual-wielding character based entirely around dex and faith. I had a lot of buffs, I had a lot of heals, I had a lot of light armour. I say a lot of light armour, a lack of armour is light armour. But essentially what I was trying to do was be a multiplayer compatible character that was very easy to get into co-op with on sort of like the Sunbro, Guardians of the Sunbros, and what ended up happening was that very few people are still playing this game, so I could never really get summoned or summon anyone else. So I really was just buffing myself and healing myself. The faith build does give you a lot of longevity, I would say, in a level. Like you can exchange your Estus flasks. Oh crap. You can exchange your Estus flasks for Ashen ones, and each one of those, if you convert that into healing spells, is worth like 3 or 4 Estus flasks. So it's very efficient, but obviously the spells take a while to cast, so you can't use them in combat, which presents quite a few flaws, especially against bosses and other players. But it really wasn't a suitable build for anything past New Game. Like, Faith, in my opinion, probably one of the weakest stats in the game. Doesn't really do anything for you in terms of damage. If you don't invest in it fully, then you don't get the sort of lightning spells that some Faith builders go for, like the instant kill lightning spears and such. I don't really want to go for that, because I really don't like the spellcasting in this game. It's very tedious, and often it's just not worth the payout. You get a lot of, like, hit lag. The spells take ages to cast, and you can hit somebody twice for 900 there, but if I was using Faith, I'd probably hit them once for 800 with the same level that I am now. Hitting them once for 800 with a massive wind-up. Again, it does work from range, which is always a benefit in Dark Souls, because, I mean, yeah, you did it, guys. You did it. But, range is always a benefit, but also a curse. You can get distracted a lot by range. A lot of enemies in this game only sort of activate, for example, they only activate when you get past them. So you go in for a ranged attack on those guys, and by the time you've got there, this guy's caught up to you from behind. You have to switch weapon. It's a bit of a mess. Range is, I like to use it to drag enemies away from other enemies, but when I respec this character, I completely removed all my ability to use ranged attacks. I am still actually on a dex build, let me show you. So I've got very high dexterity for dexterity-based weapons. I'm not experienced enough at this game to know how all of the stats work and which weapons are best with which. I just sort of play for fun, so Vigor, quite high. I like to have a lot of health, especially in PvP. People will kill you in literally one hit, which is absolutely cancerous, but there's no way really to avoid that. That's just how they like to play the game. They where the hornets ring and kill you in one parry, and parrying's too easy. It's PvP in this game, they didn't think about it. They didn't think about it at all. They sort of forced it into the game, like, especially with the twos. I'm assuming people watching this video would likely have played Dark Souls 3 before. And you would know that in the Farron area and in the Anor Londo area, there are two factions that are specifically designed to invade you. So the PvP in those areas is ridiculous, and in most other areas of the game there's some PvP. People will invade you anyway for Rosaria's fingers and sun medallions and that kind of thing, but the worst ones have to be the Farron area and Anor Londo, because there are two factions that specifically get summoned from anywhere on the map to PvP you. I could be here, but if I'm wearing the Covenant of Aldrich Faithful, I'll get summoned to Anor Londo anytime anybody goes through who's embered and within level range of me. So the PvP just gets ridiculous, and there's no limit. Like, you could be going through as a single solo player, and you get invaded simultaneously by 3 Aldrich Faithful, or 3 Farron, like, watchdogs of Farron. It's bullshit is what it is. You get absolutely creamed by 3 players, and there's no way around it, and then you lose your ember, and then you respawn, and you're like, do I really want to ember again? Yes, I do! And then you ember, and you go back into the zone. There's no limit to the amount of invades that can happen, so you just end up, once again, getting invaded by 3 people. It can feel incredibly harsh, and that's on top of the fact that the game is, in itself, incredibly harsh. Like, you can play this game and some dank shit can happen. Dark Souls 3 is notorious for demolishing you with some ridiculous combo where you get hit 3 times in a row and that staggers you, and then some massive monster that would never have hit you before hits you while you are hit stunned, and you just get insta-gibbed. And then you have to go find your souls, and on your way there you get gibbed, or you fall off a ledge and suddenly you've lost all of your 200,000 souls. Just to put this out there, I didn't die at all on this run-through of New Game Plus 2, and I'm not very good at this game, but I didn't die even once until I got to this zone, and those women with the dual blades that you saw me fighting that caused bleed, I was killed by one of those and dropped something in the region of 500,000 souls, which I wasn't even that bothered to spend at this point. I'm not too fussed. But it's like, oh, I dropped 500,000 souls on the floor, I guess I'd better go and pick those back up. And on the way there, I mistimed a jump and fell off to an instant death. And those souls are now gone. Which, you know, I mean, again, I don't want to spend those souls, but losing them still feels tragic. It still has that sort of impact on you where you're like, oh, God, I can't believe I did that, because you know it's your fault, in a way. I mean, there's times where the game absolutely screws you and there's literally nothing you could have done. But there's times when you know it was your fault, and that was one of those times. So I just felt really hurt by my own lack of skill. Ouch. Dude, please. Please, dude, please. I just want to pass through. And I sort of really want these items as well. No. No. He's not interested in reasoning with me. Sometimes when I do this, I don't want to do this for the purposes of the fact that I'm actually recording this for a change, but, oh god. Normally I fight this guy up here. He's really easy to kill from the ground, so I sort of challenge myself for no particular reason, and I kill him from up on top. And the way that I do that is that he has some specific attacks. I could show you. No, I'm not going to show you. Screw this guy. He has specific attacks that he uses when you're in the little alcoves. There's 2 little alcoves on that path that I was running across to get round him. And they're full of boxes, and if you go in there, he has specific moves designed to hit people that are in those alcoves, but they're incredibly slow. Like, really slow. Especially for a Dark Souls move, they are slow. And they have a slow end to them, which is the advantage that you need to hit him, because you can't hit him with melee attacks unless his hand is there, and then you can hit him in the hand. So you go into those alcoves, and then as he starts winding up the attack, you just run away, and he uses it, and then he's sort of like stuck there for a second or two, and on the way out you can usually get 1 or 2 good hits in on him. Not power attacks, I would not recommend using a power attack for that strategy, but just like 2 or 3 times, then you have to do that like 25 to 30 times depending on your damage output to kill him, which You know, it takes a while. It takes like 5-10 minutes. That really would be boring to watch. Not that I'm saying that this isn't boring to watch, just watching me glaze through this game like it's nothing. If I was playing on, like, the regular game, like, first playthrough, I'd be taking this much slower. I'd be actually fighting these enemies, but most of the time what you're going to see me doing is just running at them, and just dealing as much damage as I can in a short space of time, and getting damaged a lot, because I'm not really caring. I don't care about losing my souls. I have, like, ridiculously high poise armor, so I can get hit and still hurt people, and I'm using a two-handed weapon, even though I never really intended to do that on this playthrough. The reason I actually picked this weapon was because I was going for all of the achievements on this file, and some of those achievements are for getting all of the spells, so I needed all of the pyromancies, all of the sorceries, and all of the miracles. I don't know how the achievement works, but I'd assumed straight away that you have to do it all on one file. It's not like, over 4 files, get all of the spells, you know what I mean? So, and on my first playthrough, because I wasn't intending to, when I created this file, get those achievements, I missed some of the spells that I could have gotten by exchanging greater souls, like the boss souls. So certain bosses, you can choose between a weapon or a spell, and I picked the weapon like a plebe. So now I had to then go through New Game Plus 1, which I wasn't intending to do. And in that, I then exchanged for the correct item to get all the spells, which is great. But I'd expected to be able to actually get all of the achievements on New Game Plus 1. I didn't realise that I would have to do New Game Plus 2 to get all of the rings. Because from looking at the actual list of rings that's on the wiki, I just basically went into my inventory, looked at my rings, and then went down and marked them all off individually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like which ones I had on the list. And the +1 variants on the wiki page that I was looking at weren't listed. There was no +1 variant on there. But then when I looked again, there was a separate page that had all of the +1 variants for the items, and because I got the last ring, which was the wolf ring, I had the +3 version from the DLC Ashes of Ariandel. No, not from Ashes of Ariandel, from the Ringed City. And you get +3 versions of a lot of the rings in that DLC. And I was like, oh, I've got the wolf ring, that's fine. Nope, it does not count. You have to get the regular variant ring of all types. So I ended up having to do all of the covenants up to, not every single one of them to rank 2, but most of them. I don't think I had to do rank 2 of Aldrich Faithful, because that's just a staff, and it's the same for Azaria's Fingers, it's just a staff for the rank 2, whereas the rest of them all have spells as rank 2 rewards, or rings as rank 2 rewards, so I had to do them, and the PvP in this game is trash. It's just awful, because it's peer-to-peer based connection. So, like, if I'm the host, it's laggy. If they're the host, it's laggy. Like, you can't get around the fact that there is lag. So people hit you, and then you see them move, or they just sort of, like, slide around in civilian pose, and you can't tell what they're doing. That's like a classic Dark Souls thing that everybody hates, the sort of civilian pose thing. But everybody knows about it and just sort of doesn't care. And certain people as well are all too aware of how to make it happen. So they do it purposefully to sort of make it so that you can't see what they're doing, which is, you know, trash-worthy. You are trash if you're doing that. Jesus, sorry I went silent there for a second because this guy is quick and I'm trying to concentrate on fighting him. No, I really don't want to get cursed. Oh, yes! Get wrecked, nerd! Okay, he's done. He's gone. What was I saying? I always go off on these tangents where I just keep talking and keep talking, but if I get distracted by even one thing, that's the smallest thing, I'm like, ugh! And then I can't remember what I was talking about, what I was saying. Something about spells, right? Something about spells? Basically, I need the spells, but I've got them now. I just need the rings. But I ended up having to do all of the covenants. That's what I was talking about. Longfinger Kirk. This is the... Oh, this is just a... Okay, this isn't a player. This is, Again, most of you watching this will have played Dark Souls and know what this is, but these are like AI invaders to teach you about invading. And I actually picked this weapon specifically because it's very good in PvP for that move. So, especially against these AIs that don't know how to avoid this stuff. It's just like, get wrecked, and you are dead. No? Eat it. Point at the floor like everybody does. Point at the floor. I don't know why they always point at the floor. Probably because they are trash. But, anyway. Basically, what I ended up having to do was do PvP for like a week and a half straight. And it was some kind of torture. It wasn't fun. I'll tell you that for like nothing. The PvP in this game isn't fun. It's one of those things where you feel like you're doing a job. And it's just not interesting at all. Half of the time that you're doing it, you just feel let down by the game. Controls, lag, something lets you down and you get killed because of it. And there's a very clear divide of who is still playing this game right now. And I guarantee you, 1 in 40 players is me. The person that's just replaying it for the fun or for the achievements and they're not tryharding. You've got... I'd say like 80% of the players are hackers, and that's not an exaggeration of like, oh, you know, he's just saying they're hacking because he lost to them. But like, if I had been recording at the time of doing the PvP, you would have seen. I actually could go back and do some PvP just to prove it, because I know that I would only have to do it for about 5 minutes before I started seeing them. There's people that like fly around the map. I went into one session where as soon as I loaded in, I was repeatedly thrown in the air by... as if it was like a really high charged up power attack that knocks you into the air. Every second that happened, my armour and weapons were all broken, including the ones in my inventory, instantly. And the message on screen constantly flashed up, humanity lost, humanity restored, humanity lost, humanity restored, as if I was being hollowed and then having the hollowing removed. Which obviously, none of that is possible in the game. It's what hackers do. But that is not an uncommon occurrence. That's the stupid thing. Like, you'd think they would make it difficult to do that in the game. You'd think they would have some kind of... This is one of the things that annoyed me the most about it. There's no report function in this game. I can't go into one of these lobbies and this person is doing this, and they make me have to repair literally all of my equipment and ruin the game, and then when I come out of it, I can just report them and move on and know that some admin somewhere will eventually look at it, or if enough people report them, it auto-bans them, that kind of thing. There is no report function in this game. You can't be punished for hacking. You can't be punished for cheesing the system in some way. So this is one of the... going on to another thing that really, really irked me about the PvP was... you'd go into a lobby, and what's supposed to be the max is 4v4. Like, you've got the host of Embers, who is the person who is Embered. Like me right now, I would be the host of Embers. And up to 3 phantoms protecting them that they summon. Or when invaders happen, the phantoms can come as part of a Concord, like if they're wearing the Way of Blue or whatever. And then up to 4 invaders if they've used Rosaria's fingers so that they can get those. Like, normally I think it's 2 phantoms max and 2 invaders max, so it's actually 3v2. But if you use Rosaria's fingers, you can have 4 players and 4 invaders. So it's sort of risk versus reward of, do you want to have a 4th co-op ally? Well, then you better get ready for some invades. But you go into these lobbies, and this is constant, especially around Anno Londo, where the only people still play the game. You go into a lobby and they've got 3 phantoms, right? So straight away there's 4 people who are there to team up against you. And then there'll be 2 red invaders or an Aldrich Faithful there, and they are also working with the player because they can attack you still. So you launch into that lobby and there's 6 or 7 people waiting, just literally stood in a ring around where you spawn, and they kill you instantly. Where's the fun in that? What do you even get out of doing that? As the invaders, like, you can kill other invaders, but you literally get nothing for it. Like, if I invaded a world now with a red eye orb, and there was another Rosaria's finger there, like, I can attack them, but I don't actually get anything for killing them. I think I get a couple of souls. If they have souls, I get like a portion of their souls. It's not worth anything. It's literally worthless, and you don't get any Covenant items. You don't get anything. That's the point I'm making. But you go into PvP, and there'll be one host of embers and 2 invaders, and you're like, perfect, 2v1. Finally, I've got past the hackers, I've got past the cheaters, I've got past the people who just aren't even playing the game. And finally, 2v1, we can do this. And then you go to attack that person, that host of embers, and the other invader just backstabs you and kills you instantly, and then sort of like dances and does taunts over your corpse. Yeah. Fun. Very, very fun. I just don't understand why you would do it. Why you would go into a game and then do that. Because you're not actually getting anything out of it. You yourself are getting no reward. You get no souls. You get no Covenant items. You're just literally ruining somebody else's fun, but you're not... Like, that's not fun to do. That's not a fun thing to do. If I went into another session now and killed 2 other invaders and then died and didn't get anything, I wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, I loved it. I'd be like, why the fuck did I do that? Why am I bothering? What's the point? And I guess that's the point I'm making, is that a lot of these people are doing it just because they can, and it's stupid. Let's be honest. In a community that's already dying, where there's nobody still playing this game, why would you want people to quit because you're taunting them with your stupidity? But I digress. PvP, not good, which is why I didn't record it. I was gonna do a sort of like quest for the achievements series sort of thing, where I went through my journey of doing the achievements, but basically I cut the PvP because I was getting really, really salty, which I know is the kind of thing that people love to do. No, screw him. Screw that person. I know that's the kind of thing that people love to watch. Is like, ooh, I'm so bad right now. That person killed me in PvP. They knocked me off the edge with a kick move. No, I just... Anyway, this video's probably gone on long enough. I will stop here and see you in the next episode of The Quest for the Rings. Bye.